Thanks. My name is Seth Oteng, the Executive Director of the Youth Bridge Foundation and also the African Youth and Governance Conference Initiative. Well, we organize in the Youth Bridge Foundation, it's organizing the African Youth and Governance Conference, and I must say it's the fourth African Youth and Governance Conference, which was opened yesterday, 8th of August 2012, has brought together youth from, but the last check, about 31 countries, and the diaspora. That's where we had a delegate from Holland, delegate from USA, we had Germany as observers, we also had Australia as observers, and we think that it's offered a unique exchange platform for the observers, and then the Africans in the diaspora as well as the youth from the African countries. And I think that the African youth hold the key to the continent's integration and continent's development. So until the youth of Africa are brought to the table to be part of the solution search for Africa's development challenges, it presents a big challenge for us to move further. Because come to think of it, the youth represent more than half of Africa's population. That is, if we are to define the youth by the age 15 to 35. By the African Youth Status definition, they represent more than 50% of the continent's population. And it is regrettable that the youth participation and representation of the governance of the continent, the various countries, it's rather on the low side, highly marginalized. And for us as a Youth Bridge Foundation, that is the agenda we're pushing for, asking for a seat at the table, meaning youth inclusiveness in the governance of the continent. So the fourth African Youth and Governance Conference, which is the fourth of the series of African Youth and Governance Conference, which annually brings the youth from over 30 African countries, 30 plus African countries, basically is creating a platform for youth engagement with policymakers, and then also to look at how we could identify the challenges of the continent, issues affecting the youth of Africa, and how to move, finding solutions together and moving forward. So basically, that is the concept and initiative for the African Youth and Governance Conference. This year's theme focused on partnerships for job creation, a wheel for transformational governance. In a nutshell, is to say that the youth of Africa must be placed at the center stage. Now, if we talk, and then the problem of youth unemployment is a big challenge to African government. We recognize that African governments are not in a position to solely solve the problem of youth unemployment in Africa. And as such, the call of this conference is for partnership, the search for partnerships to solve the youth unemployment situation in Africa. Partnership with who? With governments, with civil society, with the private sector, corporate Africa, and international community, who claim they are our development partners supporting us. That these partnership models must be made. But you see, it is one thing developing a partnership model without the youth voices. So what we're asking for is inclusiveness of the youth in formulating or developing models or policies to address the youth unemployment challenges. So basically that is the focus of this year's conference, and it's been exciting, a lot of ideas coming up, and we expect at the end of the day we have actionable plans that will translate into real youth development. Yes, there's been the man talk of conference and talk, and we think that for us what we're saying is that we have been building on each year's conference. We started by looking at the African Youth Charter, which is the continental policy document guiding the youth development. We look at the AU's declaration or the Decade of Youth, from 2009 to 2019. We look at that policy document, the Malabo decisions of the 17th AU Summit, and a couple of other issues, and we have done a little audit of them, critiqued it, identified some aspects that we think must be strengthened, and made some recommendations. And that we think that is the way forward, and we're looking at having concrete partnerships that would move the youth issues, the youth agenda forward. And the youth being part of finding solutions to the problem of the youth, not someone else deciding for the youth. So basically it's about youth inclusiveness and the participation and representation.